Happy Monday, everybody. I'm hoping that you had a good weekend once again. I know the World Cup is in full effect and we watched the USA yesterday. So I just believe that we are all just cheering and continuing to support this great world event. And I hope that whatever team you're supporting, that they go to the top. So, my name is Jasmine Jones, and I'm here with the weekly address to young Americans. And this show is sponsored by an organization called YOU, which stands for Young, Organized, and United. Yes. So, today's show is about who really reads my resume. And I won't lie, when I was job searching, I for doggone sure asked this question. Because I'm like, for real, do I have to sit here and labor over this one sheet of paper to just get hired and looked at? Like, do I really need to do that much work to make this airtight? So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer that question for you, as well as give some do's and don'ts to how to think about prepping and preparing your resume. So the answer to your question is yes. People really look at your resume. I can speak for myself. I do the hiring for my office, and therefore I'm forced for every position that is up on our website that comes through my office. I have to look through every single resume. So if 200 people submit it, I have to somehow get through 200 people. So the point is that for a mid to high functioning organization, most of the time they do look at every single resume. So therefore, it's very important for you to put your best foot forward to make it through the batch. So this also has given me a lot of intel on the do's and don'ts, right? Because after a while you start to see like, okay, this is a yay, this is a no, based off the simple things. So we're going to dive into some of those do's and don'ts so we can protect you from falling into the wayside and also promote you to be one of the selected chosen ones to speak to. So here we go. So we're going to start with the don'ts, because I think we should start with the don'ts and then end with the do's on a positive note. So the don'ts are: A, do not have a single misspelling. Now, I know this is something that a lot of people are like, duh, but let me tell you something. I have read a lot of resumes and I have seen it go through the gamut. And that is one way to easily be off the map. So be sure to make sure you proof, double proof, triple proof, send out to someone else to make sure that your resume is read correctly. And no weird sentences too, that's included. Anything that sounds a little off probably is. So be sure to send it to someone to proof it for you if you're having a hard time reading through it. The second thing is, do not use images. Now this has been kind of funny because I actually crack up when I see this stuff, and I understand where people are going, right? Like, I know that this is a competitive world out there, especially in this city with Washington, D.C. Tons of people are applying to tons of jobs. I got it. But the worst thing to do is to look desperate and use things that are too distracting. And images are one. One time somebody put like a file folder picture and I saw where they were going, but it just was too much and it was just like, please stop. So this is my note to you. The traditional resume, there's nothing wrong with it. I promise you. We're going to read it regardless because we want to find the best candidate. So we don't really care for all the floof and fly. We care about what's actually on the sheet of paper. So it's very important that you don't do anything too distracting. This is my opinion. Now, if you're in graphic designs or an artist and that's something that you're very good at and you could pull it off well, do it. So you don't have to take this by law. But in general, the traditional resume works just fine. So be sure to not use images or look crazy. And the biggest one, the biggest don't, is do not have over 2 pages on your resume. Now, I bet you $20 that the president's resume isn't even over 2 pages. And there's something about it, and we're going to be real honest here. So I understand there are people who've got PhDs and all of that, but I'm talking to my young professionals out there, the ones who recently graduated from college or are still transferring throughout the workplace. We don't have 3 or 4 pages worth of work. And that means you can't synthesize what you did. So you must be telling me everything in the world versus what's most relevant and important for me to read. So the point is please, when people say stay to 1 or 2 pages, stay to 1 or 2 pages. And the reason why is because your reviewer is only going to probably get through the 2nd page before they make a judgment on you, right? They're going to say, okay, this person, this is what I say. all right, this person has way too much. The only way I would keep reading is if the information was that relevant. Like your experience was so spot on with this that I must continue to read. But if you're in between, but I see some things you like, but then I have to go through all these pages, I'm going to put you in the maybe not so section, because why would I keep reading when you're already not hitting the target in the first 2 pages? Now, this is not a golden thumb rule, but I'm pretty sure we're told this throughout the market and throughout our education. Only 1 to 2 pages for your resume, no more than that. Okay, so here go some do's. All right, I know in one of the shows I did earlier this year, it was about make sure that when you do your resume that you use words from the job description. Oh my gosh, people never do that. People never do that. So make sure that when you are making your resume, I know it gets tiring to have to redo it because everybody just wants a general one, but be sure to look at it, take some keywords, and put it into your resume, because that makes you look way more attractive, way more relevant, way more skilled, and everything that I'm looking for. So don't miss out on that. So please, please look at the job description and do not copy, be crafty. Okay, so the next do is to make sure that your resume is all lined up. Now, I know many of us out there have had the experience with Microsoft Word where it tries to sabotage our resume and change it and it won't line up and it's really frustrating. Well, it needs to be lined up, okay? That is going to also be a judgment call if someone did not take the time to make sure it's lined up. So please, please be sure that your resume is nice and tight and neat and lined up, and pay somebody if you cannot get those little bullets to move, okay? So please, please do that. And, all right, and the last do is make sure that you have all your pertinent information. Now, I know a lot of us young people out there, we're pretty good with putting all of our phone numbers and emails and our year of graduation and all of that. Do not miss that. So let me let you know one important thing about a resume. It is the only reference point that we have for you in the job market. That means that if we don't have everything for you, it sometimes doesn't allow us to find different information. Like, we connect on, like, I may look at your phone number and say, oh, this person's from Atlanta, I'm from Atlanta, cool, you know, maybe they went to my high school, okay, that's great. And people love, especially interviewers and like myself, I love finding ways to connect with people. Like, what year did you graduate? What school did you go to? All of that matters. And I know some people think that people discriminate against schools, or they may discriminate against the year that you graduated. And the answer is, sometimes, yes, you do have interviewers that, or resume reviewers that look at that information and make a judgment. But the problem is that if they can't make it up front, would you rather them do it in your face when you finally come into the place? And yes, most people are like, I'd rather just step into the door and deal with it because I'll wow them anyways. That's fine. But the fact is that that information is still needed before you come into the door. And the reason why is because you want to be accepted at a place full without any reservations. And yes, some people do judge, but the fact is you never want to work there anyway if they're going to be that kind of, they're going to give you that kind of treatment, because it's your history. It's who you are. It's not changing. So please be sure to put all of your relevant information on there. I've passed by a few people who may leave it off because they think, you know, they won't get picked if they put it. Please just put it. So that's about it for my do's and my don'ts with your resume. And the point is just make sure that you do your best job with it. This is like your college admissions essay. You got one shot, so you might as well do it right. So thanks so much, and I hope you join again with me next week. Bye-bye.